for this evening. We're now considering resolution number 1, the only resolution for this evening, which is the resolution of the Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority authorizing an application for demolition and disposition of the public housing community known as Creighton Court.
I move the adoption.
Madam Chair.
Adopt the resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I so move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I second.
There's a motion on the floor to adopt the resolution tonight. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is Barrett. We had a really good discussion about this resolution in the real estate committee, and I think a lot of the discussion was around how this is, kind of step 1 in this process for the second phases, and that this is, there are multiple steps that are going to occur in this process. So without rehashing that entire conversation, Desi, would you mind just, maybe laying out maybe the next couple of steps that we do have to take in this process to, to move forward with the project? I think we've done a good job kind of laying out the need for the redevelopment, but I think it's valuable for all of us to hear, this is step 1 where we approve that we give the authority the ability to go to HUD, and then there's a couple of steps after that that take us to the timeline that Mr. Powell was talking about when we actually start turning dirt and moving people.
Sure,
well,
now
before we do that, I think that right now we're in the middle of a resolution about the demolition. So we need to go ahead and finish adopting that. I think the other steps are the other steps, but this in and of itself is what the resolution is about.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Madam Chair, I understand that. My point is, I think this is valuable in understanding why we're voting and what we're voting on. And I'm not asking for a lot, just Desi to kind of walk through what the process that we're starting with this vote.
I'm sorry, I just thought that we already discussed that though. Didn't we already discuss that tonight?
Madam Chair, I don't recall hearing that conversation. And again, I mean, I think there's some validity to the question of just, again, I think it speaks to the motion that's on the floor, just making sure that we understand what the next steps in that process would be. That's
next step of the demolition, or I thought you meant the next steps after the demolition.
The next steps of this process. Once this is approved, what are the next steps? I mean, if I'm understanding that, I would like to know that. I'm not sure. I don't want to put words in Commissioner Hardeman's mouth, but just want to make sure we
that's
understand
exactly
the
right.
process. Or somebody can explain the next steps.
I thought Commissioner Hardeman was asking us, what is the next step after the demolition? And so I was saying that this resolution is about this step, which is the demolition. But the other steps I thought was already discussed by Juan tonight about what the next steps were. So maybe
Madam Chair, and Commissioner Gooden is exactly correct. I think what Mr. Powell presented to us is what is going to happen once we've received the appropriate approvals from HUD, once we've got all of the funding in place, and it's my understanding from what he presented to us that that's several months down the road on this phase. I think phase 1 will start sooner than that. We're already underway with phase 1. But there's a series of approvals that we'll need from HUD. There are other steps that we're going to have to take before we even get to relocation and of the current residents in phases 2 and 3 and the demolition itself. And that was all I was asking about is what are the legal steps, or not even legal, but the administrative steps that we're going to need to take as an authority moving forward. And I know staff has got a list of things that they've got to do, and we don't need to go through all of it, but I do think it's valuable to know that this is setting off a process, and we're not demolishing Creighton tomorrow. It's important for us to make the statement as an authority.
I don't know what just happened, but Barrett, Commissioner Hardman was talking, then I heard something else interrupting him. So Commissioner Hardman, could you repeat what you said?
I'm sorry, and my internet connection's not great. My request is just that Desi, I thought, has done a good job kind of explaining, at least I heard during the real estate committee meeting, that there are a series of steps that are going to happen. Some of them are just staff conversing with HUD, they're financing steps, but before we actually get to the point where demolition is going to occur on this property, there are a number of things that have to happen before that. And I don't want, and I think it's valuable for us as a board to briefly hear about that, but also for the public to briefly hear about that, because I don't want the impression to be that what we're doing tonight means that demolition starts on this property tomorrow, because that's not what's happening. We're authorizing the staff to start moving forward on these steps, which are critically important in getting us to a new property.
So it sounds like you're saying you do know what the steps are, but you want Desi to reiterate it for the people who were not at the committee meeting. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Just briefly for the other commissioners who were not there, and I think it's valuable also for the public to understand that, just very thumbnail sketch of that conversation and the process that's going to occur.
I understand.
After this.
I understand now, because I thought you were saying that you didn't know what the steps were, because I was really very sure that we had the steps already. But yes, just for the sake of the transparency, so that the public doesn't think that we're going to do this overnight, Desi, can you please do a brief description of this?
Sure, happy to. Tonight's meeting, the resolution really is the last step in terms of the Housing Authority submitting the Section 18 application to the Special Application Center. The Special Application Center is the division of HUD that looks into and approves inventory applications for the removal of or the demolition, disposition of public housing. What has occurred in the last year is a sequence of events in order for us to get to where we are. And I'll list the very big items. One, we had to meet with the residents, which we've done significantly, as Juan described, over the last year. We started a process in January where we had a kickoff meeting with the residents. We've met with the Creighton Court Council residents, the Creighton Court Tenant Council, and then engaged in the charrette process in the fall in order to put the site plan together. So resident engagement was very key. Secondly, we also had to do an offer of sale to the Creighton Court Tenant Council, and that was accomplished. We got an appraisal. We sent the information over to the Creighton Court Tenant Council for their approval, their review. Hearing no comments back, that satisfied that condition for the application. Then I think tonight really is a board resolution in which basically said that all these activities have been completed. I will then upload all the information into the Special Application Center after I have your signature on the board resolution tonight. We will then submit that application. Hopefully we have dot I's and cross T's and we've submitted a perfect application, but nonetheless, it's also called the SAC Special Application Technical Assistance, where they will walk us through, maybe certain concerns they may have with the application or to further elaborate with anything on the application. We've done that in the past and have had good communication with the Special Application Center. Once it's approved, then we can move forward, as Juan described, with a robust engagement process with the residents, again, letting them know that the application has been approved, that we will start relocation activities and demolition, and then you will see a lot of activities occurring at Creighton Court where we'll be families will have their housing options. We'll be awarded tenant protection vouchers, allowing families more options in terms of where they can move to. We'll be temporarily relocating families, meeting with residents, doing capacity building. A wealth of services will be provided to the families in terms of how we move forward. And we will be conducting those activities once we get the approval from the Special Application Center.
Yes, just as we did in the beginning phases before. All right, thank you very much, Desi, and thank you, Commissioner Hardiman, for that question. And back to the resolution. Hearing no more discussion, all those in favor of adopting the resolution, please say aye, and Corey will poll.
Commissioner Blunt?
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Coleman? I am not sure if Commissioner Coleman is still with us. I will come back to him. Commissioner Gooden?
Aye.
Commissioner Hardiman?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Commissioner Jones?
Aye.
Commissioner Kessler?
Aye.
Commissioner Pitchford?
Aye.
And Commissioner Shelton?
Aye.
And I will give Commissioner Coleman one more chance to vote if he is still with us.
Aye.
Thank you. Glad to hear from you. That was unanimous, Madam Chair.
Okay, the resolution for this evening for the demolition has been adopted. Were there any
Yay!
resolutions for, was there anything on the agenda for a closed session this evening, Corey?
I have nothing this evening, Madam Chair.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you all for coming tonight.